Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show on this Wednesday, the 5th of August, 2020. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. Let's open up the charts right here, and let's take a look at what's going on. First thing I'm going to show you is back in 1917, in Halifax Harbor, Nova Scotia, Canada, not far from where I live, there was a giant explosion in the harbor of explosives left on board a ship. Now, I want to show you right, let me see if I got it. Okay, right here. This is a picture of the Beirut explosion. And evidently, it was a ship in the harbor that had fertilizer. Something like 2,000 tons of fertilizer? But I see the similarities in the amount of devastation caused by the Halifax explosion and the amount of devastation. Now, 300,000 people in Beirut right now are homeless because of this. And not to count the amount of people that are injured, tremendous amount of people that are injured, tremendous amount. It's very similar, in my mind, in a lot of respects to the Halifax explosion. Let me just go back to the picture of the Halifax explosion so you can see. This is a Halifax explosion, okay? And the cloud flume and everything, and the size, I think perhaps the Halifax explosion was slightly larger, but they were in the same proportions, and it caused devastation. Here's a picture of the devastation aftermath. Halifax explosion. The whole harbor was just blown away. There's pictures of the devastation of what's happened in Beirut. There's a, let me see if we can get it here. Turn the volume off. They got drone footage of the damage in Beirut. They flew a drone over. Very similar amount of damage. Anyway, causes widespread damage. It's almost like the words Hiroshima come up in the amount of the extent of the damage of a blast of this size and proportion. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. Yesterday I did a show and I talked about support by the government for the people that are going to be homeless and everything else. I don't think there's a chance they're going to follow the things that I said. That they'll actually do that right now. Right now what they're doing is they're actually cutting back. They're actually, and they're going to continue with this until the economy completely collapses. Then they're going to offer some sort of support. You betcha, and it's probably going to come in the form of a UBI or a universal basic income, probably. But they're going to wait until after the economy collapses, not before. See, they could get in ahead of this thing right now, and this is why I did that show yesterday, because I'd like to see them get in ahead of it, cancel it and stop it, and improve the economy before the economy collapses, not after. They're going to wait until after the economy collapses, and then they're going to come in. It's the same darn thing as when I was saying they should shut the border and close the borders off and everything way back around January. And I was saying that they should keep nobody coming in or out of the country to prevent the virus from getting in. No, they didn't do that. They did it later. A few months later, they shut off the borders and they closed everything down, and they wait. They wait until the problem manifests itself. And I'm going to tell you what. There's an old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's the old saying, you know. And it proves true today, that old saying. Anyway, let's get on and take a look at the markets and what's happening today with gold and silver and so on. It looks like gold and silver right now is experience a very slight pullback right now. But you know what? Markets never go up in a straight line, guys. Never. They always have pullbacks. So, I mean, don't let this deter you or anything, because I'm going to, at the end of this show, okay, wait until the end of this show, just at the very end, and I'm going to tell you how to know when gold and silver have reached the peak of this bull run, the real peak of this bull run. I'm going to tell you how to know when they've really reached the desired level, and they're not of all this years of suppression. And when gold and silver reach I'm going to tell you how to know when they've reached the spot where they're finally going to start to, the rally is not a rally. This is more than a rally. This bull market. When this bull market's reaching its conclusion, I'm going to tell you how to know when this bull market's reaching the conclusion. And this is a special treat for my viewers out there that are into gold and silver, and a lot of them are. A lot of my viewers, are stackers. So I'm going to tell you guys when. Anyway, let's get on and take a look. We're looking at the price here of silver is $26.54 today, and it's turned down just a little bit. Not much, really, considering what a rally we've had. Let's take a look at gold. Gold's doing exactly the same thing. They follow each other. Gold's up 1670. It's 2036. It's maintaining itself over $2,000, and that's very important, that $2,000 mark. Let's take a look at cryptocurrency today. $354 billion, so it's creeping up. Crypto's creeping up. Bitcoin's getting almost to $12,000. We're looking at a Bitcoin dominance of 61%, and we're looking at a Bitcoin price of $11,704.22 today. So, the same forces that drive gold and silver up drive up cryptocurrencies. It fits in that same slot. But the thing about it is they both have their strengths and they both have their weaknesses. Bitcoin's biggest strength is the fact that it can be transmitted across the internet. It can go through borders and everything else instantaneously. You try to get a 10-ounce bar of gold through the border. See what happens to you. You'll never see your bar of gold again. They're so hungry for gold, the government's honest to gosh, And they'll find it with the metal detector, and they'll take it. They'll say, "What's this?" And they'll be all so happy, to see it. You never see it again. Anyway, but Bitcoin can be sent across borders, and it just seamlessly goes through the internet. But the other reverse of that is, the bad point about Bitcoin is if the power goes off, Bitcoin's off too. It's offline too. It only works with the power. It only works when the internet's running. Where gold will run even if the internet's not running. You can still hold that ounce of gold in the real world in your real hands. So it's a real tangible asset, and that's a plus for gold. So they both have their strengths and weaknesses. Let's take a look now at the Dow Jones Industrial Average today. 27,103. It's up 274 points. It's still moving up. There's still a little bit of energy left in it. I don't think it's going to approach the old high of about 30,000, though, before this rally completely runs out of steam. And you know what? If the market were to start to fall and if it didn't receive support from the Fed, there would be no bottom. Well, there would be a bottom. 3,800. You heard me right. Dow Jones, 3,800. Not even in the 1,000. Well, 3,800. That would be the bottom. If there was no support by the Fed whatsoever. That's the kind of crash we would have. 3,800. That's how far it would fall before it would finally find some sort of support and start to move back up. But it would take years for it to get back up to this level again. It would be a lost decade waiting for it to get back up again if they let it fall that far. And I say let it fall that far because they'll never let it fall that far. I can't see it anyway, not in my lifetime, that they'll let it fall that far. They'll step in at a certain point. But, right now they're getting a little bit like, when a person feels like they've spent too much. That's how the Fed is right now. The feeling out there is we've spent too much on these packages, like the $2.2 trillion that we just put out there in March. We're spending too much. They're getting that feeling, and now they're starting to... It works just the same way as a person, if they've put too much money on their credit card, and they say, okay, we're going to cut back this month. We spent too much last month. It's the same deal. And this is why the economy is going to collapse, and then they're going to be forced to spend more. That's the way it's going to really work. Okay, look. Dow Jones is up today. Bonds, we're looking at rising yields today. The same amount, that we saw fall in yield yesterday. What's going on with that? Is it some sort of manipulation? I can tell you right now. I think maybe they're buying it up one day, and the next day people are selling, selling and buying. Anyway, I think the people that own bonds are selling them, and I think the government's buying them all up the next day, or something like that. Something's going on. And I just haven't got the ins and outs exactly what's going on in the bond market in the U.S. Treasuries. But let's take a look now at the U.S. dollar index. And we're seeing a fall in dollar today. It's been falling all day long, just steadily falling, down to 92.69. You know, real trouble's going to begin. I've said it over and over again. When the dollar goes below 70 on the U.S. dollar index, that's going to be massive, you know. And I think it's going to, because I think they're just going to have to keep inflating it until it's just. And you know, that's it pegged against these other fiat currencies that are no good either. Compared to, can you imagine if the dollar was pegged against gold, how quick it would drop? Anyway, okay, listen guys, thank you for listening to my show. Like and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.